It's not often where a film comes along, hits you right in the gut, destroys all of your emotions, and just blows you away. Alright there guys, so I have watched a movie called Heel, but apparently it's also called The Good Boy. I don't know, it's really confusing, but in the actual movie that I watched, it came up with the title as Heel. I'm assuming it was called The Good Boy because I actually did a trailer reaction for this film and it was called The Good Boy back then, but I do remember there was another film called The Good Boy, but that involved a dog, so maybe that's why it's now called Heel. I don't know. Anyway, this film started off as one of the most uncomfortable horror thriller experiences that I've sat through in a very long time. I mean, what starts off as this dark, gritty thriller mystery, little bit of horror, turns into something very different. I am going to be delving into huge spoilers in today's video because this is just one of those films where you really have to delve in and you can't do that without spoiling it. So if you don't like the spoilers, then please stop now or go and watch the film and then come back. If you don't mind spoilers, stick around. So the story follows Tommy, a 19-year-old criminal who clearly isn't exactly living a straight life. In the first few opening scenes, we see just how reckless and out of control Tommy is on the streets of Britain. He's getting drunk, he's partying, he's doing drugs, he's sleeping around, he's being violent, and he's just a pretty horrible, vile human being. But then everything just flips. He ends up getting kidnapped, and not by some masked killer or some drug dealer that he owes money to, but by this rich couple called Chris and Catherine, and yes, that is Stephen Graham playing Chris. At first you're thinking, okay, what is going on here? Is this some sort of revenge plot? Is this torture? Like, what the hell? I mean, what they're actually doing is they're trying to reprogram him, and what I mean by that is they're trying to show him the errors of his ways, and they do this by chaining him up in the basement with a collar around his neck so he can't get around very far and he can't escape. And they end up sort of like playing him TikTok videos, ones that he has created, and basically they're videos of like his crimes and his antics and him, you know, him beating people up and stuff. And Chris then also plays educational videos about drink and drugs and drink driving. It's all very unconventional, it is very wrong, and it's slightly disturbing to watch at first.
Oh, he's crying!
Is he crying? Is he crying? Oh,
you're looking for mummy? You're looking for fucking mummy?
Oh, yeah, have your phone back, mate.
Oh, there you go, mate. There you go.
Yeah?
Look at me. Fucking look at me. I'm talking to you.
And do you know what? You have no idea what the backstory is here. I mean, why have they taken Tommy and why have they locked him up in the basement? Has Tommy hurt one of their family members in the past? And is this all some kind of secret revenge plot that's going to come out later on in the film? You have all of these questions running through your mind as the film progresses.
What do you think my probation officer's going to do when she realises I haven't checked in with her? They're going to start looking for me, you know.
Tommy, do you really think I didn't run a background check on you?
What's that supposed to mean?
There's no probation officer.
At the start of the film, Tommy is a very angry, violent, dangerous young man who hurls awful abuse at Chris and Catherine, but as time goes on, he starts to mellow out a little bit, and they all weirdly start becoming this dysfunctional family, but Tommy is chained by that collar for the whole duration in this house. I mean, as he starts to read books and he starts to calm down, they extend his chain so he can move more around the house, and then he ends up having his own bedroom eventually. Chris and Catherine, they also have a son called Jonathan who is 10 years old, and he isn't fazed at all by this, 19-year-old guy called Tommy who's chained up in his house, walking around the house. It's just normal.
Oh, a movie. Awesome. What are we gonna watch? Me shit in the bed when I was 4.
Tommy does his best to try and figure out ways of how he might be able to escape. Like, he tries his luck a few times, but, he seems to just sort of like like, he just sort of just settles in, you know? It's just, yeah. He starts showing trust and some respect to Chris and Catherine, and he gets more and more freedom around the house. The chain system extends. Tommy really bonds with Jonathan, the 10-year-old, and there is actually, oh my god, there's a really, really sweet moment where Jonathan and Tommy, they've fallen asleep, and you've got Jonathan, the 10-year-old, hugging Tommy like he's his big brother. Oh my god, it was just so cute, but yeah, messed up at the same time, because again, you don't know what the freak is going on here. You know, this whole situation, it is strange, it's weird, but we slowly learn throughout the movie that Chris and Catherine, they definitely had another son, an older son who was older than Jonathan. I'm not sure, like maybe the same age as Tommy, who knows, but this older son, he's not around anymore. It's all very heavily hinted, but we don't actually get any answers, but to me it is obvious.
This room used to belong to someone, didn't it?
Yes.
Who?
They had an older son, and they've sadly lost him somehow. Like, it's really heavily hinted that something that happened to the older son was something to do with probably addiction. A bit like Tommy, I suppose. I'm guessing this older son got into drugs, he got into the wrong crowd, and it all ended in a tragedy. You know the story, it happens a million times a year. Because at the start of the film, Catherine, she's an absolute mess. She's not talking. She's clearly a woman who has had a nervous breakdown. She's really, really been through it. And when Tommy is kidnapped and brought into the family home, you know, she starts to get better. So Chris and Catherine, they have Tommy chained, you know, in their house in order to replace their son, who they have sadly lost. And I think they probably chose Tommy because Tommy, you know, as I said, he was out of control of the street, you know, on the streets of Britain. But I reckon Chris was probably following him around in the car, and he saw something in Tommy that was worth saving in his own weird brain, and that is why he kidnapped him.
Because if you're off your head all the time, why do anything about it? Do you know what I mean?
Perhaps that's one of the questions that Huxley poses in the book. Which is better? Blissful stupor, or dealing with sober reality?
Yeah, I get it.
Now, again, this is all messed up, right? It sounds messed up when I'm telling you this story. I mean, Tommy, he was a messed up individual causing havoc on the streets of Britain, but Chris and Catherine, they're also seriously messed up due to the loss of one of their sons. These two awful scenarios collide, but in a very, very strange way, they end up all helping each other. The difference that we see in Tommy as the film progresses is just incredible, and in a really, really strange way, Chris and Catherine and even Jonathan help Tommy, but Tommy also helps them. It's just, yeah, it makes no sense as I'm saying it, but it just somehow works. They fix each other in this messed up situation. I'm not saying it's ideal. I mean, kidnapping a 19-year-old boy off the streets and keeping him chained up, you know, all around the house full time for months on end is yeah, wouldn't normally work, but somehow in a sort of like 1 in a billion chance, this somehow worked. So what starts off as a dark, gritty British thriller ends up hitting you in a million different emotions. It's like you don't know how you're supposed to feel while you're watching this film. And then that third act, oh my god, get the tissues ready, guys. So Tommy, he does end up finding a way to get out of those chains while everyone's asleep, and he doesn't want to, he doesn't want to hurt the family, he doesn't want to hurt Chris or Catherine, he just wants to leave. But Chris and Catherine, they don't want him to leave, and there's this really, really intense moment in the lounge, and they end up letting him go. And Tommy then runs out of the mansion, out of the grounds, and down a country road where he is found. He's then taken to hospital and then taken home to his mum. And this is where things just end up breaking your heart, because we learn Tommy's mum didn't even bother reporting him missing to the police. His girlfriend did, but his mum didn't care enough. She texted him a few times and just assumed that he was out having fun. Bear in mind, Tommy had been missing for months on end. Anyway, when Tommy realizes that his mum doesn't really give a toss about him, he then goes back to one of his nightclubs where he sees his old girlfriend. Now, this girlfriend, she is off her face on drink and drugs, and he actually helps her and takes her home. He doesn't drink or do anything himself. He's a good boy now. And then, like, later on, I think it's like the following day, him and his girlfriend, they drive off in a car. Her life is shit. We don't get much of a backstory from the girlfriend, but she says to Tommy she just wishes that she could disappear just like he did. So he ends up driving them both to this secluded area, and he says to her to trust him, which she really does. He then gets her to sniff some chloroform to send her to sleep. Now, this isn't done in any kind of malicious like vibes or anything, because this is how they transported Tommy from outside of the house to inside of the house using chloroform. It was just because they didn't want him to escape, and Tommy uses this same premise on the girlfriend. He then carries her and walks for ages, and he walks back to Chris and Catherine's house, and he gets to the big, mansion gate, and he rings the bell, and we are all there waiting in anticipation, and then the gates open. Tommy carries his girlfriend in his arms, walking down this massive driveway to the mansion. Chris and Catherine and Jonathan, they're all there on the doorstep waiting. They're all smiling at each other. You got Tommy smiling back at them as he's getting closer to them. And do you know what? He goes back to them because despite the really strange scenario of this whole film, they are the only people that actually gave a shit about him, even more than his real mum. They all ended up fixing each other, and he goes home to them. No more change, just normality. Chris and Catherine were destroyed by the death of their oldest son. Tommy was on the pathway of destruction before he was kidnapped, and now they have all just fixed each other and become one. Oh my god, guys, this film, I was just not expecting it at all. When I say I was in streams of tears in that final scene is an actual understatement. And what can I say? I mean, anything that features Stephen Graham, you just know it's going to be a brilliant film, but this one is real next level. Everything from start to finish is perfect. The acting all round is incredible, and I tell you what, guys, Anson Boon, who plays Tommy, wow, what an absolute powerhouse of an actor. Seriously, keep an eye on him, guys, because he is definitely onto big things, I am telling you now. Such an incredible, talented actor. This is one of those films that every single person in this world has to watch. Honestly, that I'm not even joking there, guys. This film has blown me away. Not just me, but also Peter watched it with me, and he was just as blown away as well. I actually cannot stop thinking about this film for a ton of different reasons. I mean, wow, I really hope a lot more people get to see this one, because I struggled to find it. I struggled to find this movie on Google to read up about it, and I think that is due to, the strange name change from Good Boy to Heel. But guys, I really massively urge you all to watch this. You will not regret it. I am going to give this movie a solid 10 out of 10. Very well deserved. There's nothing more that could have been done to make this a perfect movie. Honestly, incredible. So guys, I want to hear all of your thoughts. What did you think of this movie? Did it catch you off guard when you saw it for the first time? Because it definitely caught me off guard with the direction that the film took. Let me know all of your thoughts. And while you're down there, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for all future updates. Alright then guys, well that is a wrap. Thank you all for watching today's video. Keep watching horror, and I'll see you all in the next one.